Thank you. Thank you, everybody. It's an honor to be here for the 12th years.
Well, it's an honor to have you back.
Here we go. So it's understandable that we are confused, that what is extreme. So I wanted to talk about what is extreme, because we seem to think that prevention is, that we're going to work out, we're going to eat really well, we're going to go to sleep early. It's extreme compared to needing or wait to the last minute when we actually need medical care, and we need to get into call 911 and be taken care of. So what you think is extreme actually is not, and what you think is normal is not. And Hippocrates said, everything in excess is opposed to nature. So why are we taking such high risk with our health? And why are we making those terrible choices? So let me take you through some of what I've learned through, I say, 50 years now. So which path is more extreme? So, there is a lot of surgeries now being done. And we have all these young people that are now diagnosed, for example, with colorectal cancer. They have been in so many ways been thinking that they were okay with their diet. They were okay. They were young. They should have stayed healthy. So then came organ transplants, and organ transplants is actually usually comes from a deceased donor. Not always, of course. I could give a kidney. I could give half my liver away. And for example, if I needed pancreatic transplant, we could actually instead just take beta cell from somebody's pancreas and to regulate insulin. So there's many ways, but let's talk about the main ones. So estimated number of organ transplantation worldwide in 2023, the total was 172,000. The kidney, of course, is the biggest one, 111,000. Liver took 41,000, heart 10,000, lungs 7.8 thousand, pancreas 2,000, and small bowel even 177. 71% increase in surgical volume globally since 2016. Organ transplant have increased 11.3 in just 1 year. That was last year, 2024. We get to kidney, which is number one. Transplants are often needed after years of dialysis due to diabetes. People have high blood pressure. It's poor diet, non-nutritional food, smoking, and inactivity, which you see is repeated over and over in most of the problems we have. So, for example, diabetes, which is a big part of why we would end up with kidney transplant, is now the care is actually through lifestyle and more emphasis on nutrients like vitamin D and B12. United States performed a fifth of all kidney transplants globally. In 2022, approximately 102,000 kidney transplants were conducted worldwide, reflecting a 9.1 increase compared to 2021. So unfortunately, Black and Native communities experience double the rates of chronic issues involving the liver, stomach, prostate, kidney. So there is a lot we need to do to inform, educate, and learn to be proactive so that we can prevent these problems. Liver transplants, United States in 2023, US achieved a milestone with 10,660 liver transplants, surpassing 10,000 for the first time in a single year. Globally, demand for liver transplants continues to exceed supply, with only about 10% of patients in need receiving a transplant. So liver transplants, we often require due to hepatitis B and C, alcohol consumption, and increasingly non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, especially in US, which has the highest rates of alcohol-related fatty liver. Fatty liver also arise from poor diet and toxins accumulation. When the body cannot eliminate toxins, they are stored in our fat cells. Heart transplant. United States, in 2022, US performed 4,545 heart transplants, setting a new annual record. In 2022, approximately 8,988 heart transplants were conducted worldwide, representing a 7% increase from 2021. So remember, if you're old enough, when Dr. Christian Barnard in South Africa performed the first heart transplant, 1967. Well, it was like God, because how could you take a deceased person's heart and put it into a person and he would stay alive? Well, unfortunately, the patient only lived 18 days because the immune system rejected the heart because it had different electrical signatures. So heart attack, happens when the blood flow to part of the heart is abruptly blocked. Cardiomyocytes, the cells that are responsible for beating in the heart, contract about 2.5 billion times in our lifetime. So it delivers oxygen, hormones, and removing waste. Here, what we see is a lot of difference between men and women. Women have something called small vessel disease, and many times they have angio tests and testing out fantastic, and have a heart attack or stroke the next day because what wasn't tested was small vessel disease, those tiny, tiny tears that you have to heal through lifestyle, exercise, sleeping. So it's very similar to when we have a stroke, because the blood-brain barrier could have those tiny, tiny tears too. So organs are limited. In 2022, there were 38,156 deceased organ donors worldwide. And the waiting list, look at this, more than 106,000 people for transplants. So why don't I prevent? Why don't I do everything I can? People have come to this institute who needed kidney transplant, who needed liver transplant, and heart transplant, who never needed them. So while they were waiting to get a donor, they actually came to get themselves stronger. But what they didn't realize is that the strength from live food, from this organic, beautiful phytonutrients, hormones, oxygen, and proteins that they get here, they actually recovered. The body is ready to recover. Surgeries, health alarm. Well, so when I have surgeries, of course, especially transplant, that means lifelong immunosuppressive medication, and it's increased risk of infections and cancers. So one of our guests, after receiving a kidney 7 years ago, is actually able to get off from his physician, was able to get off his immunosuppressants because of this lifestyle, because of this diet being fantastic for him. So there is actually possibilities, even though it's supposed to be lifelong. So vital organs and glands that we take out, and these are not unnecessary. It's like, well, we can live without tonsils, live without gallbladder, live without appendix, but we are not the same after. So appendix is more than a vestigial organ. It's part of the lymphatic system, and it contains something called innate lymphoid cells. And innate lymphoid cells you actually make more of by eating a plant-based diet. It acts as a reservoir for the microbiome. Essentially, it's a live probiotic. To support it, we need fiber from vegetables. Without it, then fecal matter can actually build up and increase the pressure so much that it might rupture. And of course, if we've gone that far, we need to have surgery. But what we could have done if we knew that we were in increased risk, then we could have rested. We could have been eating really well, lots of fluid, and we probably could have cleaned this up because these are fecal matters that get stuck in there. So this is particularly common in children and young women. They're the ones who loses their appendix. And in UK, they found that because they didn't have enough CAT scan to be done, and they actually surgically removed so many appendix that were totally unnecessary. But by the time they came out, they were healthy. Then we have the gallbladder, and it aids in waste removal. It makes bile and bilirubin. When bile hardens due to cholesterol or poor microbiome health, it forms stones. The key to prevention lies in diet and a balanced microbiome. Interestingly, we can even pick up beneficial microbes simply by spending time around younger people. It's very good for us. So the gallbladder lies right under the liver, and it stores the bile that the liver makes. Now, bilirubin is very important because it is taking waste out. And when bilirubin goes very high, some people, they get yellow. They get jaundice, they get yellow eyes, their eye white gets all yellow. We have had some people here at the Institute who's gone through that. And, you know, the body can't clean. And so when are stones made in the gallbladder, usually they take the gallbladder out. Well, it's not really a good decision in a way, unless it's emergency, right? Because now I don't have a pouch to store the bile that I need to digest fat and cholesterol when I'm eating it. So after a meal, we pour out what's needed into the small intestine, and whatever we didn't use actually goes back into the gallbladder. So it's fantastic system. So now the bile is still made by the liver, but instead of having like a quart in there to be used, it just drips. So now cardiovascular problem goes up high time. So tonsils is a big part of cleansing, and you know, tonsils are very often, because they are the first immune to our what comes in through our nose and mouth, and we need to cleanse what comes in. So our immune system is there, our white blood cells are there, ready to attack. And so it's now we're lacking that. So we call it the terrific triune that is often taken out, and we could have kept them. I say, in Sweden, I got to keep mine. My husband, Brian, lost his very young, and because in America they were taken out, either they were not needed or not, and very much because of our diet, all the dairy products, meat, chicken, fish, eggs, and gluten, and sugar, of course. So if we have kids now, and we have young or grandkids, and we can somehow help them in this journey of health and deliver better food. So surgeries, financial impact, coronary artery bypass grafting, well, that costs between $30,000 and $200,000. And there's about 200,000 procedures annually in the US. Stents, we do $11,000 to $41,000 in the United States. Over 2 million stents are implanted annually. And you know, they don't last forever. So eventually, if I don't have good health, take care with exercise, I'm gonna have to repair. Joint replacement, 32,570 and higher. Knee replacement surgeries in US, over 800,000, and hip replacement, over 450,000 annually. We do a lot of knee and hip replacement. You know that I need to exercise to get my cardiac going. I need to eat a really well diet where all the minerals, vitamins, great proteins. So 830 million people worldwide are living with diabetes. Half are younger than 70. This number has quadrupled since 1990. Today, diabetes is managed more through lifestyle than pharmaceutical. Well, there is a lot of pharmaceutics too, but if we emphasizing the nutrients like vitamin D, B12, and diet is such a big part. Exercise is such a big part for people to recover. And lifestyle versus medication. Diabetes prevention program, intensive lifestyle changes reduce type 2 diabetes incident by 58%, while metformin medication reduced it by 31%. Lifestyle changes were nearly twice as effective. If that research was here at the Institute, I would tell you we have more. 100% of type 2 diabetes who follow the Hippocrates program recover. How can I say that? Because this is what I see. This is what absolutely is possible. Reframing extreme. So here is our medical director, Dr. Josh.
This is Maria Clement here at Hippocrates Wellness, and I'm here with our medical director, Dr. Josh Hellman.
Hi there.
Yeah, and so we want to talk about the extreme things that are done and how much prevention we could do. So give us some hint of what things that you've seen. I mean, you've been in practice how long?
Decades. I finished med school in 1993, so it's been 30 plus years.
Yes.
Yeah. So in terms of organs that get removed, and I'm not saying no one should ever have any operation.
Right.
I'm just saying that we should do more conservative things first. So for example, if you're trying to lose weight, the first thing you should do is not get a gastric bypass or a stomach stapling procedure, because unfortunately most of the time those are not reversible. Mm-hmm. You should change the types of foods that you're putting in your mouth and start exercising, for example. Mm-hmm. Or another one is getting your gallbladder out. If you find that you're eating fatty foods and you're getting pain in your right upper quadrant where your gallbladder is, mm-hmm. the answer, in my opinion, is not to remove your gallbladder, because guess what? We actually need our gallbladder. The gallbladder does something. It concentrates the bile, and if you remove it, unfortunately, you're missing that function. But I've discussed this with patients in the emergency rooms and said, look, you've got inflamed gallbladder. I recommend that you switch to a low-fat, plants, and cut out all the animal products, the high-fat products. And some people listen and say, you know what, Dr. Josh, I'm gonna change what I'm doing. But a lot of people say, wait, you mean I have to give up all my fast food and fried food? No, I want that operation. And all you can do is describe the positives and the negatives. Right. But I think unfortunately in our society, it's too much, I want the quick procedure and I don't want to change my lifestyle, what I'm putting in my mouth that's actually contributing to chronic diseases.
Mm. Appendix is going out a lot. Tonsils are going out. How important are they?
Yeah, so the tonsils, and they'll do like either a tonsillectomy or a TNA, a tonsillectomy, an adenoidectomy, and these are part of our immune system, and they're there for a reason. So often, instead of just yanking these out, and it's a pretty brutal operation, you basically burn them out. Instead of doing that, why not remove the things that are causing the inflammation? For example, cow's milk, unfortunately, can cause too much reaction from your immune system. I find often if people cut out cow's milk and dairy and cheese, that the inflammation of their tonsils and adenoids goes away. The same thing with if you get people to eat a lot more plants, often and lower their fat intake, often their gut works better and their appendix no longer gets inflamed.
So, then there is 10-GLP-1, semaglutide. Smoking, amphetamine, metformin, bariatric surgery, etc. It's just another hit on the hit parade of weight loss magic drugs. It influences how the brain regulates energy intake. The vagus nerve, which connects the abdomen and the brain, is particularly sensitive and responsive, which can lead to side effects like nausea, even loss of bone and muscle mass. What really leads to obesity? Well, it's calorie-dense food, poor nutrition, and lack of exercise. We're now also seeing, there's a lot of side effect coming of this now, such as vision problem, diarrhea, constipation, and both kidney and gallbladder dysfunction. So I put this little squirrel with a nut because you know what happens? You kind of end up on squirrel food because your stomach tells you that you are full and you don't really need to eat, and plus you're nauseous. So I think we need to look at the extreme of this. So it's extremely helpful to live well. It's extreme to undergo invasive surgeries and lifelong medical treatments. And of course, we'd be the first one to say that it's needed sometimes. And we have accidents, car accidents. There absolutely are needs sometimes. But most of the time, it was lifestyle result. It was a result of what we chose. So I love this say. It says, every positive choice is prevention. Everything you do now prevents diseases you never knew you get. Don't you love that? Unseen benefits of affirmative movement, like doing early morning workouts. That's for Brian and I, that's what we always do. We take our dog out and we always been doing that. Enhance lymphatic circulation by that, aiding toxin removal, reducing the risk of neurodegenerative disease like Alzheimer, dementia, and Parkinson. So regular physical activity is associated with a 35% reduced risk of cognitive decline. Yeah, we all want to keep our brain, don't we? We all want to keep it so that we are happy and we can function in life and not be sitting in a nursing home and not knowing what my name is, where I'm at. And here is Andreas Sjöstrand. He is an exercise physiologist, and he's the founder of Neuroscience that now is a part of Hippocrates Wellness.
Andreas, what is Neuroscience?
Neuroscience is a fun way to use your brain in a way to connect left and right hemisphere. So we do different exercises with the body to sharpen the cognition. We do balance, coordination, and something we call flow, using the brain to strengthen the body, the mind, and the soul. So that's pretty much a framework of what we do.
And this is a part of Hippocrates fitness program.
It is.
And
so we do it here on campus.
Yes.
And also online.
And this has been enormous help for our guests, and especially people with Alzheimer and Parkinson. Tell us about it.
Yes, we have had a few guests that really needed some help with movement, And we just found out that when we start to do coordination movements, like working with hands, different things that we go thinking from side to side, we activate both parts of the brain. But when we also start to move our body, we start to get flow, energy flow through the spine up to the brain, or the other way around, that heal the body. So we want movement, and if you stop using it, we lose it. So same with cognition. So we need to practice it. So this is a great way to challenge yourself in a safe environment.
And the guests have fun too, because you use tools for them. And so tell us about that.
Yeah, so the tools, we develop them for have a little bit more dynamic and a little bit more complexity to the exercises. With tools, we can actually find a level to scale it, so adjust it for each person. So we have something like a ball, like tennis ball in a string, that we move around, and the person starts to shift the balance and start to focus using the eye, and which we know the eye is very important to cognitive health and the brain, because we have muscles directly connected to the brain. So that's one tool. We also have sticks that we drop, so the people have to react. And we do also ipsilateral, which is same side movements, and contralateral when we cross movements. So this is always to enhance movement and also play.
Thank you.
Yeah, as you hear, he is Swedish. He's a friend of our son, Blake, who's been studying medicine and now is a doctor there. And he has, really upped the fun here at the Institute, because so Andreas was a bodybuilder. He had gyms. He got tired of just the same monotonous kind of lifting heavy weights. And he wanted to include body and brain is his movements, and it's just fantastic. So nutrient-dense foods more than meets the eye. Wheatgrass, for example. Wheatgrass is rich in chlorophyll, vitamins A, C, and E, the iron, magnesium. Wheatgrass and activates immune system against pathogens. Wheatgrass exhibit antioxidants properties that protect against oxidative stress and boost immunity. That was from Journal of Food Science and Technology. We can say so much more. Of course, I've been drinking wheatgrass for more than 40 years now. And, it's every morning that I start, I drink 4 ounces of this, and I have energy all day. It just keeps me going. Of course, I also have the green juice. I have the green juice that I'm drinking right now, and it's sunflower and pea sprouts. The more I have of fresh sprouts, the less I'm hungry. It fills me up. There's no hunger after that. Now, in Navarra, in university in Spain, and this is somehow controversial in this field because people are against oil or for oil, but they did a 5-year study and concluded that consuming extra virgin olive oil reduced a person's risk of heart attack or stroke by 30%. Of course, I'm not going to have my salad swimming in this. Little bit goes a long way. But what they probably were looking for more than anything is that we needed omega-3 for our brain and our heart. So there are other ways I can get omega-3, of course, avocado, nuts, flax seeds, chia seed, hemp seeds, olives in itself, algae, of course, blue-green algae is an amazing way. So, but, the study talks for itself. So plant-based diets and heart health. Adherence to a plant-based diet is associated with a 32% lower risk of cardiovascular disease. Mechanism: lower intake of saturated fats and cholesterol with higher intake of fiber, antioxidants, and phytochemicals. So phytonutrients, which has been a part of the plant kingdom for over 100 million years, contain bioactive compounds capable of preventing and even reversing most diseases known to man. So Dr. Howell's classic work on enzymes that he published in 1946, was the first one to recognize the vital role of food-based enzymes. He wrote, enzymes are the labor force that builds your body, just like construction workers build your home. And he found that enzymes does not survive 118 Fahrenheit or 46 Celsius. So for example, here, if we make a little bit of hot food, it will be in a dehydrator, and it will be, I keep mine on 115 Fahrenheit, not to overheat, so that the enzymes are still, because enzyme is a huge part of live food. Benefits of a raw vegan organic plant-based diet. It is nutrient dense, high in vitamins, minerals, fiber, and phytonutrients, low in saturated fats, and devoid of cholesterol. There's no cholesterol in plants. I make my own cholesterol because the liver does. Disease prevention reduces risk of heart disease, hypertension, type 2 diabetes, and certain cancers. And digestive health promotes healthy gut microbiota and regular bowel movements. So, you know, just seeing this here at the Institute, how people change, and especially people come in with high blood pressure, that comes down, especially if you're here 3 weeks, as it takes 21 days to change habits, and you have a new environment in your body. So you usually are done with your blood pressure. You might not be done with the medication as of yet, but your physician could help you. Same with type 2 diabetes. Phytonutrients, nature's medicine, antioxidants, neutralize free radicals, reducing oxidative stress, and protect DNA from damage, slowing aging process. Yeah, maybe you know or not, but DNA, which you're made from your mom and dad, is very easy to change. Environmental pollution, even stress, you know, could easily change that. Anti-inflammatory compounds, flavonoids and carotenoids reduce chronic inflammation and lowering disease. Well, guess what? Flavonoid and carotenoid, if you heat them up, then they die. So the vegetables that would be really rich, of course, it's a lot of leafy greens. You heat them up, you don't get it. Diets rich in vegetables and ripe fruit reduce mortality risk by 30%. And that was Dr. Harmon. And that's also British Medical Journal, 2014. So I wanted to show this because most of us buy things in the store instead of farmers market, where they probably picked everything the day before. Because each day, you see the days post-harvest and you see nutritional value, you see vitamin C, vitamin A, and antioxidants. By the 8th day, they have gone down a lot in nourishment. So that happened to be romaine lettuce, but you can probably put most vegetables and fruits in there too. So oxidative stress is the cause of all disease. It was first identified in 1954 by Dr. Harmon. It is a key factor in premature aging and disease. Our ability to detoxify and repair is critical. So it is our ability to detoxify and repair. So when cell dies, they release free electrons. They're unpaired, they are reactive, leading to further cellular damage unless properly neutralized. So how do we neutralize these unpaired and reactive? They're going to find something, right? It's phytonutrients, it's live food, it's getting enzymes, right? Reversing disease through plant-based nutrition. So cardiovascular disease, plants showed reversal of coronary artery disease with a low-fat, plant-based diet. Participant experienced regression of arteriosclerosis, hardening of the arteries. Type 2 diabetes, plant-based diet improve insulin sensitivity. We see that here all the time. And from Lancet and Geriatric Cardiology was 2017. Participant reduced or eliminated the need for medication. Yeah, that's what we see here too. So organic food, you want to maximize health benefit, reduce pesticide exposure, eliminate intake of harmful chemicals linked to health issues. Higher nutrient context, some organic produce have higher level of antioxidants. Environmental impact, which is the most, right? Support sustainable farming practices, preserving the soil and water quality. And of course, if I have organic food, I don't have the herbicides, pesticides, GMO, genetic manipulating. So, you know, even if the nourishment, because unless the soil is really rich, I've been taking care of the farm here the last 6 years. And, you know, I realized that soil is it. And if I grow something in soil that's been depleted, I don't expect to get the best produce, right? So organic produce maximizes health and has up to 60% higher level of antioxidants. Not so obvious extremes. How much plastic will you have for dinner? 90% of animal and vegetable protein samples tested positive for microplastics. That was Journal of Environmental Pollution, January 2024. So there's been a lot of talk about this now. You probably have heard it. Plastic chemical used in manufacturing include bisphenols, flame retardants, PFAS, which is forever chemicals, and heavy metals. These are found really everywhere, in salt, in rice, in water, in food, especially the packaged foods that, you know, have plastic all around it. And even in tea bags, you know, the plastic tea bags. So you got to get good organic plant derived, no caffeine, right? You can remove about 40% by soaking the beans, soaking the rice, soaking the grains like millet, quinoa, and properly prepare them. A March 2024 study in the New England Journal of Medicine found that microplastics in carotid artery plaques associated with their presence with a 4.5-fold increased risk of major cardiovascular events like heart attacks and stroke over 34 months. So we get a lot of plastic. Oceana, the big ocean company that really is studying what's happening in the ocean, they found that if I eat fish 3 times a week in a year, I have 2 ounces of plastic, microplastic in my system. Now that's a lot. So, and maybe there is more, who knows, because it's it's all in our environment too. A 2024 study found that a single course of antibiotic disrupted the gut microbiota, with bacterial diversity decreasing by over 40% during treatment. While bacterial communities showed partial recovery within 30 days, nearly 20% of pre-treatment bacterial population were still absent after 3 months, with damage evident for 8 years. So this actually came out of a Swedish study, and they studied people for 8 years, and they found that people that took antibiotic during that time, and only like 2 weeks of it, and the people that did not take anything, were the people that did nothing had so many more species. There are people that took the antibiotic still after 8 years had 56, about 56 to 50 species less than the group that had. And we need all the species we can have in our gut, because they are 90% of our serotonin they make. They are 80% of our whole immune system. So that was a big deal. So of course, there are times we need to take antibiotic, but how do I heal then? because most people are not told you need to take, you need to be on a raw live food diet, because that's prebiotic, and prebiotic makes probiotic works. You got to take probiotic, but you need the diet to be there with the fiber, with the cellulose and all the nourishment to rebuild the species that you lost. So of course, there's a way to fix this, but most people never hear about that. Then we have harmful additives, food additives, high fructose corn syrup, which is in so many things. If you go to the supermarket, oh my God, and you see it in the cereals, the kids, all the stuff kids want have high fructose corn syrup. And if you listen to Dr. Senef from MIT, she will tell you that high fructose corn syrup is a huge part of ADHD, autism spectrum. Monosodium glutamate, MSG. I remember the first time I had MSG in a Chinese restaurant, I had a headache out of this world. I learned about that one. And so, it's not something we use for sure at all. Trans fats, where do I get them? Well, that's the French fries, that's the donuts, and that's the worst of all fats. That's partially hydrogenated oils that will cause cardiovascular problem. Then you have the artificial sweeteners, you have aspartame, sucralose. Aspartame now is actually considered a carcinogen. And it's been in all the diet sodas. I don't know if it's taken out. Artificial colors, red, number 40, yellow, number 5. I think right now red is taken out. I don't know if it's totally taken out, but it's on its way, hopefully. Sodium nitrate and nitrate. BHA and BHT, these are synthetic preservatives that are coming from oil and gas. Propic gallate, sodium benzoate, potassium bromate. I mean, these are terrible stuff. If you see these things, you're not going to buy it. You're not going to get these things. Harmful food additives are linked to hormonal disruption, hyperactivity in children, gut microbiome imbalance, right? And increased risk of metabolic and cardiovascular disease. So, you also should try to get the containers in glass. And, there's so much of plastic being used that we're going to be swimming in plastic one day. Well, there is an island as big as Texas in the Pacific Ocean that already, and fish is eating it. It looks just like food, but it's coming around. Here's Dr. Spicer.
Hi, I'm Dr. Roy Spicer, and I'm here at Hippocrates Health Institute with Maria Clement, and today I wanted to focus on healthy indoor environments. I've been dealing with water quality issues for 40 years, but there's also an additional problem with indoor air quality. Indoor air quality directly affects your health. Ultrafine particles from the outside, that could be mold, it could be small fragments of dust, it could be pollen, or it could be outgassing from your furniture or any products that you buy, cleaning agents, soaps, detergents, even dry cleaning. These are all chemicals and particles that get into your body. They pass the blood-brain barrier and they affect your health in many different ways, including your brain function. So there's a lot of new studies out there, especially if you live in cities or near heavily trafficked area, the particle counts go up. Children are affected, their mental health is affected, schools are learning about this. But it's really important to control what goes on inside your house by cleaning up your cleaning agents. There's non-toxic cleaning agents. You don't want to buy any furnitures that are made from countries that use chemicals like China, because that outgasses. I've been in homes where the outgas for 2 years and they're very toxic. The other issues are mold. I'm dealing with a mold problem right now in my own home from a water leak, and down here in Florida, we have a lot of rain, so mold is extremely toxic. It can be deadly. So you have to be aware of all these different factors that affect your health, but you want to maintain a healthy indoor environment by having clean air and clean water.
So Dr. Spicer is our water expert. He come here to teach the guests and how they can purify the water. And boy, is that big time important. Harmful household chemicals to avoid: phthalates, parabens, quaternary ammonium compounds, and ammonia, chlorine, bleach. Health risks: hormone disruption, reproductive toxicity, respiratory and skin irritation, neurodevelopmental and metabolic issues, and potential long-term damage to the endocrine and immune system. When you read this, don't you think, how did we go nuts? How did we go so extreme that we are polluting the world, especially our children? They're especially vulnerable, but because they're spending 80 to 90% of the time indoors. Now they're going to be exposed to all these chemical cleaners, the mold, the poor ventilation, treated furniture, plastic-based toys, PFCs, formaldehydes. And so here at the Institute, we use 100% organic bedding. And we also have, from the mattress to all the bedding, linen, but we also have biodegradable products throughout the campus to clean. I mean, you shouldn't have anything at home that could actually hurt your child, because they definitely are going to get that in. And as they're growing, they're much more sensitive than we are. You are what you wear. To reduce exposure, we also need safer clothing. So look at this. Close to 100 to a million years ago, 100 million, maybe 200 million, humans lost their fur, originally needed for thermoregulation in Africa. So we actually had to be able to perspire in Africa. So our fur came off. We were like all the other animals before. We had fur. We were naked. So as we migrated to colder climates, we started to wear clothes. And then, you know, it was all natural fiber, of course, and they were furs, even, of course, but then there was flax and linen and cotton, not synthetic materials that can be harmful. So, you know, I see so many women that wear bras of polyester and nylon. You cannot breathe through that. They have underwire that's causing a lot of harm and cancer. So, you know, the skin is very sensitive. It needs to breathe. It's your largest elimination organ. So you wear things, especially close to your skin. It needs to be organic cotton, or it could be linen. Linen is one of the highest electric frequency for your skin, and that's why you feel good. Even in hot weather, linen feels good. In cold weather, it feels good. Organic cotton, normal cotton is a big part of climate change because it is very much polluting the earth. Polyester, yes, derived from petroleum and often treated with harmful chemicals like formaldehyde, non-biodegradable, and can release microplastic during washing. Yeah, so there takes about 7,000 different chemicals to make polyester, nylon, acrylic. So they're non-biodegradable, which means when it goes out in nature, it's not going to degrade. So we'll have it for tens and thousands of years to come. And nylon made from petroleum-based products treated with dyes and finishing chemicals. Acrylic contains polyacryl non-nitrile, which can release toxic fumes, non-biodegradable, requires significant chemical processing. So both my mother and Brian's mother, of course, were brought up in the time when this came out, because it was really from the Second World War, and then it took off in the 50s and 60s, and then came the nylon stockings, and then more and more clothes were made from nylon, polyester, and acrylic. And our moms were like so happy we didn't have to iron anymore. Wow. And little did they understand how toxic they were. Then came rayon and viscose, well, made from cellulose, but it's processed with carbon disulfide, which is hazardous to human health and the environment. Spandex, lycra, elastane, petroleum-based and treated with synthetic dyes and chemicals, non-biodegradable and energy-intensive to produce. So conventional cotton, while natural conventional cotton farming using significant pesticides and herbicides, which can remain in the fabric. PVC vinyl fabrics used in faux leather contains phthalates and emits volatile organic compound. It's called VOCs. Flame retardant treated fabrics, common in children's sleepwear or upholstery, treated with chemicals like brominated flame retardants, which can be very harmful. Yes, they found a study, actually, they had children sleep in these pajamas, and they took their urine the next day, and all these chemicals were in the urine the next day. So it's an upside down world, isn't it? Health at home. Minimize exposure to EMF. So electromagnetic fields, sources include cell phone, Wi-Fi routers, power lines, and electronic cars and devices. Potential risk is, well, look at this, sleep disturbance, increased stress hormones, possible carcinogenic effect. Recommendation, use wired internet connection when possible. Keep electronic devices out of the bedroom. Limit the cell phone use by using speakerphone or earbuds. Earbuds with special protection too, though. So we have something called 360 that you can add to that. So, you know, we are definitely hooked on the cell phones and the internet, and most people's jobs are connected to this. So when we don't need it, if it is for my work, if it is something important, otherwise leave it alone. Formaldehyde is found in adhesive, particle board, plywood, and some fabrics classified as a carcinogen. PFCs found in stain-resistant treatment for carpets and upholstery and linked to liver toxicity and developmental problems. You can now buy organic furniture. So you look that up and find, if you need a new couch, look up organic furniture that is not treated with all these terrible stuff that you're going to inhale for years to come. Volatile organic compounds, VOCs, emitted by finishes, adhesive, and cleaning products. Phthalates used in vinyl flooring and plastics, endocrine disruptors linked to developmental issues. Yeah, much more than we ever thought, right? So safer alternatives, natural fiber, organic cotton, the hemp, the linen, the wool, untreated. Low VOC product, paints, adhesive, and finishes. You can find them now. You don't have to paint with chemicals and lead for sure. So you can paint with really good stuff now. Natural flooring, hardwood, bamboo, cork, or tile with non-toxic adhesive. Non-toxic rugs, the wool, the jute, or organic cotton. Certified products, look for certifications like Green Guard, GOTS, OEK, OECO-Tex, or FSC. So these are companies out there that makes products. Impact of lifestyle-centric diseases. Non-communicable diseases account for approximately 65% of all deaths worldwide. This means it's not a flu, it's not an infection that you can get from me. This is something that I have, that I could have prevented. The economic burden of these diseases is significant, with projections indicating a cumulative output loss of 47 trillion over the next 2 decades. Emotional and mental health toll. Depression rates, it's up to 33% of patients with chronic illness experience depression. Stress impact exacerbates physical health conditions, impairing quality of life. Absolutely. So, you know, the stress we have, the non-nutritive diet, the constant input from media and internet and our phones, it's pretty tough on people nowadays. Worldwide death toll from cancer is expected to nearly double by 2050 if we don't change, and we are there right now. University of Queensland, Australia, did a study of 36 types of cancer in 185 countries. They found that the number of cases worldwide is expected to grow by nearly 77% between 2022 and 2050. And you know, this is hitting people less than 50 years old more than anybody. And this will hit also our kids, the little ones, that will pay for all the pollution that we allowed, that actually is banned in many, many countries all over the world. Europe have banned so many things that we seems to just allow to be here forever, like forever chemicals. That's going to take hundreds of thousands of years to get out. So December 2024, Sloan Kettering, Dr. Rona Yeager stated that the chance of cure via surgery and or nuclear medicine, which is chemo radiation, is almost negligible for all metastatic cancer. Yeah, that would be true if you never change lifestyle. That would be true if all I'm going to do is to hang my hat on that the medicine, allopathic medicine, is going to be able to give me everything I need. No nutrition, no emotional support with psychology. Treatments here, we do so many treatments with energy medicine, acupuncture, IVs, hyperbaric, you name it, it all walks in to heal you. So, you know, people tell us that they are cancer-free when they've gone through testing with their physician. So it's not something that we can say because we are here for the lifestyle part. We're here to support you with the lifestyle, but in any which way that we can. But for sure, it's needed. You see what she's saying? It's almost negligible. So now we got to take it in our own hands. We got to come to a place like this that can support you with the lifestyle. So prevention, you can start today. Music as medicine. I always have music in my office. Music can now be measured healing our nervous system. It's called neuroimaging. Parkinson's disease to Alzheimer and depression, as music triggers activity between our ears and our brain's motor system, is boosting hormones. Music can help us access memories that are preserved. And this is, there's a neuroscientist, Daniel Levitin. He wrote a book called I Heard There Was a Secret Chord, about music as medicine. I just love this because Brian and I always listen to music. It's a part of our life. I play violin, I play guitar, and Brian plays drums. And, you know, it's definitely a big part of healing. Eliminate animal-based foods, reduces saturated fats and cholesterol intake, decreasing risk of heart disease, stroke, and certain cancer. Well, that means you're on a whole plant-based diet, high in dietary fiber, essential vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants, support your gut microbiota and immune system's health. So, you know, incorporate fermented foods. Beneficial bacteria aids the digestion and immunity, while dysbiosis is linked to obesity, diabetes, and depression. Dysbiosis is when your microbiome is not functioning. That's the flora in your digestive tract. It's just not in balance, linked to obesity, diabetes, and depression. Supporting microbiome, consume prebiotics like garlic, ginger, turmeric, sprouts, as well as probiotics like sauerkraut and kimchi. We make our own sauerkraut and kimchi here at the Institute for our guests. And boy, that gets you going. That gets the microbiome going, and you start going to the bathroom. Stay hydrated. Physiological functions, maintains blood volume, regulates temperature, and aids in waste elimination. Dehydration effects impairs cognitive function and your mood. Study, if it's only 1.5% water loss, it decreases your alertness. So this is Connecticut's Human Performance Laboratory would tell you consume 0.5 ounce per pound of body weight of fluid, water, green juice, tea, etc. As for hydration, let's go back to 100 million years. There was no oxygen, no water. There was hydrogen and helium. And then through nuclear fusion, heavier elements were made, including oxygen. And when oxygen then combined with the hydrogen, we got water. It's amazing. So essential for physical and cognitive function. Without it, mental performance and cellular function decline. When you exercise, you should drink about 4 to 6 ounces every 20 minutes. And then you have the gut-skin axis. You have all these axes, liver, gut axis, you name it. But it plays a role in immune defense, and hydration supports both. You know your skin is not going to be happy if you're not hydrating, right? And then, like Dr. Spicer told us about, improve your air quality. Indoor air pollution can be 2 to 5 times worse than the outdoor air, often due to VOCs from paints, cleaners, and your sofas and all of that, furnishings. Improving air quality. You can use HEPA filters, and you can incorporate indoor plants like spider plants and peace lilies. The more plants, the better, because plants pick up heavy metals, chemicals. They pick up carbon dioxide and they give you oxygen. It's the cheapest air filter. Plants reduce VOC levels by 75%. Yeah, it's amazing. So get plants all over the house. Get rest. Adequate sleep, 8 hours per night, enhances cognitive function by improving your memory and learning, strengthens immune support, reduces the risk of heart disease and stroke. A European Heart Journal found that less than 6 hours of sleep increases heart disease risk by 48%. So sleep is equally vital. Norepinephrine helps clear waste from the brain. And it actually, it's a system called glymphatic system that works at night. You can look at it as a dishwasher that you put on before you go to sleep. Well, this one works while you're sleeping, and it's cleaning up waste in your brain. And EMF exposure can actually mess with that. Sleeping drugs can mess with that. And especially EMF, because the body's natural electric current, and it impair the cleaning process that happens. So let's talk about sleeping pill, because during the non-REM sleep, you have REM and non-REM. Your REM is when you're dreaming, your eyes are flickering, right? Rhythmic waves of norepinephrine induce vasomotion, the rhythmic contraction and dilation of blood vessels that propel cerebrospinal fluid through the brain, facilitating waste clearance. However, the use of common sleep aids such as zolpidem, which is Ambien and so on, may disrupt this process. Research demonstrated that while zolpidem accelerates sleep onset, we fall asleep easier, it suppresses norepinephrine activity, leading to a 30% reduction in glymphatic transport compared to natural sleep. That was University of Rochester Medical Center 2025. So what it's really saying, it inhibits norepinephrine to work as the cleaner. And so now it's associated very much with Alzheimer and dementia, as we definitely need to be able to clean up the brain every night. And you have here numerous contributing factors to the rise in Alzheimer and dementia, one of which is the long-term, we're talking long-term use of certain common medication. So you have antihistamines like Benadryl, you have anti-anxiety like Xanax, you have antidepressants like Prozac, just a minute, antipsychotics like Risperdal. You have cholesterol-lowering drugs, statin, Lipitor. You have pain medication, opioids, morphine, oxycodone, you name it. Proton pump inhibitors like Nexium, used for heartburn, GERD, and ulcers. Antileptic, gabapentin, often prescribed for seizures, nerve pain, and off-label for anxiety or sleep. All these showed a much higher rise in Alzheimer and dementia. So are there alternatives to all of this? Yeah, for long term, for sure. Maybe for short term, we need them to get over a certain problem we have, but there is absolutely lifestyle and natural plants and herbs that we can use. Adequate sleep balance hunger hormones and reduce diabetes risk by 14%. This was in Lancet, Diabetes and Endocrinology. Sleep deprivation impairs glucose metabolism. Yeah, and that is another thing, because when I don't sleep enough, you know, you have the circadian rhythm, and there is a certain hunger time, there's a certain sleep time that we were made this way. And where we kind of push that all the way we can, don't we? Immune function enhancement. Sleep boosts cytokine production, which strengthens the resistance. And inadequate sleep triples the cold risk. Yeah, so, you know, energy is a big part of how we also get a cold. You know, if we have bad news, everything goes down and infections can walk in. And you know, when you have good news, your energy is up and you can fight much better. So yoga and mindfulness lowers cortisol level by up to 31%, which is stress hormones, decreases anxiety and depression symptoms, enhance emotional well-being. It's a part of the Institute to have yoga, and there is meditation, of course. There is Qigong and Tai Chi. It's all a big part of the exercise we do here. Stress reduction is a necessity, not a luxury. Physiological impact, elevated cortisol increase inflammation and suppress the immune function. Benefits of mindfulness lowers blood pressure, reduces anxiety, and decreases stress-related symptoms by 30%. Psychotherapy, healing beyond the mind. Enhancing physical health, so cognitive behavioral therapy effectively reduces hypertension and chronic pain intensity and lower your blood pressure. This is a big part of the Institute. Everybody sees our psychologist, and they've been here many, many years. I usually have them talk on my PowerPoints, and they are such a big part of the healing that our guests are getting here. Implementing lasting lifestyle changes, goal setting, SMART, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound. Walk 30 minutes during lunch or in the morning, 5 days a week, whenever you can. Behavioral strategies, self-monitoring of food and activity, stimulus control to reduce unhealthy triggers. These strategies reduce diabetes incidence by 58%. That was New England Journal of Medicine. So, these are studies, and I see even much, much more here. I think the Institute is a living laboratory. We definitely see, if we could put the percentage, I would put them up, much higher. Find your tribe, establish your local community or wellness enthusiast. Yeah, we need friends. We need friends. That's part of our tribe then. Strong community networks lead to greater success rates in maintaining healthy behaviors. Group participants are 2.5 times more likely to maintain weight loss because we have the support. We're not going to, help each other to go down and eating terrible stuff. Be the change too. Advocate for policies promoting healthy food options, toxic-free environments, and physical activity spaces. Support initiative like farmers market, community gardens, and bike lanes. I mean, there's so many words. I always want to support farmers market. I think it's the best we can do because we get to know the organic farmers. And, the thing is to support them and to know them and for them to support us in our own healing. Because, boy, not all of you are going to be farmers out there and have land where you can grow everything. Sprouts, I can grow in any apartment. I can grow it hydroponic or with soil. So that I can, but there also is a lot of amazing sprout growers in all over the country that you can actually buy them from. Spread the word. Integrative health interventions improve patient outcomes more effectively than standard care alone. Yeah, so, sharing and getting into like a place like this where you meet other people with similar problems like you have, and you're all on the same kind of journey. It's fantastic. Prevention over intervention. Healthy choices now prevent extreme medical procedures later. Small actions lead to significant benefit. Start today by choosing one area to improve. Take care of your body. It's the only place you have to live. That was Jim Rohn. And yes, it's your temple. It's what you got. And this is what that keeps you moving. This is what your soul is in. And it's should have a great time to be able to do what it really came to this earth to do. Optimism as medicine. Well, being an optimist is closely tied to an overall well-being. Optimism may not lead to a perfect life, but it helps us live an optimal one. Take 5 minutes to write down your vision of the future. What are you imagining? What do you think it will be like? It's actually, you can look it up, the life orientation test too. So this is definitely a big part. The music, dancing, being around people, your tribe, being optimistic. You can't go wrong. Embrace prevention as your part, so your extremes in life can be extreme joy, extreme health, and extreme happiness. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy my son Blake's song. Our cookbook, Chef Ken, Lou, and I is coming out. Quantum Cuisine is here, and if you're ready for wellness, you can book a reservation, or you can learn about what we are doing. All right, thank you.
Right, beautiful. Thank you for that extensive presentation. It was very informative.
Yeah, it was the extremes.
Yes, it was the extremes, and there are a lot of extremes. Real quickly, I know you had it up on the screen for a second, but the music kind of made it hard for people to hear what you were saying about how to contact you guys and that book.
Okay, so the cookbook is out, and it's called Quantum Cuisine. Kind of goes in hand with Brian's Quantum Human. And, they could look at the QR code and see what the Institute is about and, learn more about us. And if they want to call us, of course, 561-471-8876, and we will send you over to consultation if you want, so you get to know us more. And we're here. We're never close. We've been here in Florida 38 years. The Institute is the oldest lifestyle institute. We're 70 years old now.
So you laid out a lot of extremes that any single one of them can be overwhelming. When you put them all
Yes.
together, it just, it compounds
Right.
significantly. How do you encourage people to understand this stuff without getting overwhelmed and being able to move forward positively from it?
Yeah, I think prevention and whatever baby steps you can take. I mean, for us, the Institute is a teaching facility. So the lifestyle, the classes that we do, the exercise classes we have in the morning, and then the more technical classes that we have, how the body works and how the food works and how the food is prepared, how the sprouts are made. So we have a lot of that on YouTube too that you can look at. We have a lot of books, Living Food for Optimum Health, Life Force, Food as Medicine. I mean, it goes on and on and on. And so our whole thing is to educate. And we've been true to our founder, Ann Wigmore. That's how she started. She healed her stage 4 colon cancer naturally. And then instead of doing what most people do, especially in Europe, where I'm from, we were all clinic. I directed a clinic, Brandol, outside Stockholm, and we were all, doing everything for you. We want to create independent people. We want you to understand why you're doing it and how to do it. So there's a lot out there, but it's also a jungle out there. There's a lot of people that have different ideas, and sometimes maybe you try different things to see what works for you.
So when people come to your place, they're in a very secluded area, a very insulated
Yes.
environment where they get to learn all this amazing stuff, but also have this
Yes.
wonderful community around them. It's very encouraging. And
Yes.
the food is delicious. And then they go home.
Yes.
How do you find it when people leave that environment with all this new knowledge and all this support to an environment that often has loved ones being like, "You're crazy, what are you doing?"
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It is a commitment to ourselves. So it depends on what's going on. A lot of our guests says, look, I have cancer. I could care less what other people want to eat because I need to eat this food. I need to take care of myself. And then you have people who says, boy, it's so much social pressure. And, so they fall off the wagon, but maybe not as much as they were before. So 80% of our guests comes back. And so when they come back, they're ready for the next step. They're like, okay, I'm done with that now. And next step, tell me what's the most important that I give up now. So sometimes it's just a barter. It's like they want to go all the way, but there's so much stigma in their family. Like, this is extreme. It's extreme to want to take care of yourself. It's extreme to want to exercise and do saunas, which is such a big part. We do sauna every day. And so we can perspire, so we can clean up waste from our body. and going to bed by 9. That seems to be extreme too, and because hey, I could stay up to midnight and enjoy programs on TV and so on. But I pay for that. Sooner or later, my body is going to age. The oxidative stress that Harman talked about, it's going to start happening, and I'm going to age much sooner than I really was supposed to do.
Why do you think there's a stigma on people who are extreme when it comes to taking care of themselves, to the point where their sanity is questioned by calling them a health?
Yeah.
But there's no corollary when somebody so if you eat really healthy, you're a health nut, right? So you're
Yeah.
crazy. But if you
Right.
eat in a way that's going to make you blind, have renal failure, not be able to walk, be bedridden, etc., there's no
Yes.
term to question your sanity and what you're doing. Why is that?
No. Yeah, because it's easier for most of the public to, to kind of cross the ones that wants to get up. It's like as soon as you see somebody getting healthier, you want to damp them because you are not on that journey. So you want to make it tough for them. You want to be negative. And it's a funny thing because you would want to support somebody that wants to have their health back, especially have the health back, where they've seen that they lost their health, they have diabetes, they have arthritis, they have cancer, and they are doing everything to get out of there. But it's very stressful for a family to realize that we're not going to eat the same food. You're not going to sit and eat that steak with us. And we kind of want you to do. When we have wine, we want you to have wine. And now you're saying, there's no more wine. I'm not going to have wine. I'm not going to have hard liquor. And now you're going to say, well, I can't drink by myself. So, I mean, it's stressful for people. And the thing is, I think we can't really, especially if I have a health problem, I can't really be there to help everybody else with their stress about me taking care of myself. So eventually, I'm going to have to say, this is what I have to do. And if you want to meet me halfway, share my food, make your food, share my food too. And maybe that will work. I saw that with my family. My dad, my brother, and I became vegan, and my mom hated it. She never wanted it, and it took years to get into it. But she was a wonderful mother, but she didn't like it. And same with Brian's mother. She never liked it. But both our dads became vegan. And that was enormous help. And I could bring my kids to my parents because they could stay on a vegan diet, and even pancakes and waffles and everything was vegan. And, when you have kids and you send them to grandparents, you want them to have some special stuff with them and not just the sprouts and salads that they get with us. So that was really, really great that they were supported with that. And not everybody has parents that will be supported with that. So there is there's confusion, and there's a lot of trouble in that that we don't think alike and that we don't respect each other. So I think, yes, I think it comes down to the respect of each other, and that some people are going to stay on their journey where they're at, and some is going to take off, and we're going to do totally different things. And, to me, it's been the best thing. It's the best thing that ever happened. I would never have experienced what I experienced with all the people that come through the Institute and recover one after the other. We just hired a new nurse practitioner. I mean, she can't believe what happens in 3 weeks what happens. And it looks very simple with the diet, the energy medicine, of course, that's not simple. It's state of the art. IVs, hyperbaric, the saunas, the fun exercise, the neuroscience that we do now. And of course, we do the weight training and, all kinds. So it's a mix of things that helps you heal. And it's a mix of things. And it's the camaraderie of other people that are on the same journey with you.
So, in the decades that you've been doing this, have you found there to be a common characteristic in the people who come to Hippocrates and go on and become successful and actually implement these things into their own lives, or you never can
Yeah,
tell?
we have from all over. We have the people that have no idea what they're coming here for, and they were sent here by family. And then we have people that they already started at home. They're so excited, and now they're coming to the place they've been reading about and, seeing movies or our documentary is beautiful. It's called Wellness, A Journey to Transformation. And so a lot of people might have seen that too. And, so they're excited. So you have both. You have the range, but they help each other, because now you have the people that are excited and the people are like, I don't know what I'm doing here. What am I supposed to get from this visit? But in 3 weeks, they kind of meet at the middle. And they help each other. It's amazing. No, we have all kinds.
So you talked about optimism at the end.
Yes.
Some people are blessed by being naturally optimistic. Many people are
Yes.
not so blessed.
Yes.
If you're not one of the fortunate people who are naturally optimistic, how do you begin to foster optimism?
I think, naturally what happens to us, and I work with a lot of children. Children is much easier optimistic than we are, because we have the memory of maybe it's not all going to turn out good. But as we're seeing things getting better, that's growing with us. And your brain selects what it wants. It selects during the night. It selects the memories that it wants. And it's going to start to select positive things. And slowly but surely, it will make you more positive. But it takes a lot, that's why we do psychology. Every person here, we have the group sessions, we have the private sessions. It is a part of everybody's program here.
So you talked about the various drugs that people are on and how they're detrimental. A lot of these drugs, obviously you don't go off your drugs without consulting a doctor, but how do you go off some of these drugs? Like the SSRIs are notoriously challenging to go off of. What do you guys do?
Yeah, SSR that's not easy to get off. That depends on, but there is, so a lot of our guests have, but it might have taken them a year or 2 to do that. When it comes to statin drugs, as I'm eating better, my cholesterol flies down, or my blood pressure drugs, and it comes down, my diabetes drugs, of course, any doctor could take you off as the numbers are perfect. Antipsychosis, anti-seizures, you name it, that people have been able, but it takes a while, because you have to rebuild your system. You have to get so much nourishment, treatments, psychology, exercise. This has to be a daily routine. What happens here at the Institute is that people actually get a daily routine. They're eating at certain times, exercise, they go to bed at certain times. And it feels really good after a while to have a routine, because most people eat at any time, sleep at any time. And the brain doesn't function like that. We do have a circadian rhythm. We all work under the universe. And the universe has its own rhythm too. So, we got to respect what we're doing here on Earth much more. And we got to respect the environment. What we're doing makes such an input into their nature. Because if I'm using a non-biodegradable stuff, it's going to go out in nature. It's going to stay there for thousands and thousands of years. And I didn't need any of that.
So marijuana has become quite ubiquitous now. It's become legalized even for recreational use in many states, to the point where when you're walking in New York City, I even have friends who are lifelong smokers who get offended by how much it smells of marijuana.
Yes. It
And
smells rotten.
right, and people believe it is either good for them, or it's medicinal, or at least it is benign, right? It's not bad for them. What are
Yeah.
your thoughts on that? And what is the
So
evidence?
smoking is smoking. Smoking is smoking. So that's never benign. CBD is fantastic. Cannabinoid receptors you have all throughout your body and your brain. So when I take CBD, cinnamon has it too. A lot of other products has cannabinoid that works into our receptors. So CBD oil is fantastic. There are times we need some THC. Let's say we are on heavy duty opioids and we want to start to wean, we could have CBD with THC in the transition. Absolutely.
So depression, one of the things that you mentioned during the talk. What's the role of the loss of community? You talked about how powerful community is, and communities have broken down in the last few generations, where people used to at least know their neighbors, and now
Yes.
everyone in their neighborhood are strangers. What kind of role does that play in the?
No, it's a detrimental. It's detrimental to our health, to our emotions. If TV is my only friend, if the TV is all I have, then I'm not going to live long. I actually will live. I think Brigham and Women's came out and said, I'm going to live like 8 years less. As if I took some heavy duty drug, So it's very sad. We need friends, we need community. And, sometimes we just have to take a step out there and find them. Go to a dancing class, go to some class where you learn another language, find friends, go to a vegan or vegetarian community. They might have meetings like a few times a year. Go to them, find people, find your tribe.
So early on in your talk, you were talking about all of the organs being removed as an example of how
Yes,
extreme.
we're chopping
Yeah.
them. We're
So
chopping them out.
you mentioned tonsils, which is a common organ for young kids to have taken out.
Yes.
I know you touched on the downsides, but can you go into that a little bit more extensively?
Yeah, so tonsils are now a part of your lymph system. So that's a big part of your immune system. So everything that comes in through your nose and mouth has to come through here. And you have your white blood cells that would kill anything that came in, so it doesn't get into my system. So of course now I don't have that protection. And a lot of people, of course, even when I was little, because a lot of dairy products is a huge part of that. They were swollen many, many times, but I somehow got out of it. But in America, I joke about it, but it's not a joke. Brian's generation, he's now 674. They cut it up. They cut it up because it was swollen, because it was inflamed and infected. And we need rest, we need fluids, we need to not eat the bad stuff. All that ice cream we would eat when we had a cold, it did the opposite, especially, it's made from dairy. So gluten is a big part, of course, meat, fish, chicken, eggs, the things that we haven't consumed. I haven't consumed since I was 15. I'm 69. So it's many years. Our 4 kids have never had it in their life. They're so lucky. They never had it.
You never had dairy, you saying?
No, they never had any
Wow.
dairy. They had mother's milk. They got mother's milk, and that was it. That's the only milk. But then comes the green juices, and that's like milk. That's like milk, loaded with good stuff.
Good for them. So I don't know if you know this, but so I'm going to ask this. So if somebody has one surgery, what is the likelihood that they have further surgeries? Like, is one surgery a gateway to having multiple surgeries?
No, it doesn't have to be at all. So let's say now that we did take the tonsils out and I'm on a better lifestyle. I don't keep going with heavy mucus forming foods. This is the mucus-free diet, and I'm boosting my immune system. I'm fixing my microbiome by eating a fiber-rich diet and a lot of nourishment. No, that should be enough. That could be some scar tissue that could cause trouble. But if I change lifestyle, that's usually not a problem. Plus, we can work with energy medicine to also help a lot of the scar tissue that we got from the surgery. So yes, and let's say it's a cancer surgery. Yeah, I leave scar tissue. Of course, if I have the surgery and then I have radiation burns, so I have more scar tissue. Cancer loves to get back into that spot. But what if I change my lifestyle? They're not going to have a chance. My immune system is going to be so strong, it's going to say, heck no, no way. That's beauty.
What I was trying to get at is, without changing your lifestyle, is somebody who gets one surgery, are they more
Yeah.
prone to get multiple surgeries? Because
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Yes, yes, yes. That's when people end up with the appendix out, the gallbladder out, the tonsils out, and it goes on and on. Yeah, absolutely.
so
We have a lot of our guests have a lot of organs gone.
and even once they have had those organs removed, which, this idea, and you talked about it in your presentation, the idea that these are vestiges, that they're no longer needed, that they're from the past, and
Right.
we've evolved
There's no,
past that somehow.
yeah.
The Actually, I lost my train of thought. That they had that we've all passed it is obviously not true. How do these people recover once they go plant-based, or once they take on one of your protocols?
Mhm.
Can you tell that they lost it, or do they thrive?
Yeah, there's always, so let's say the gallbladder is out. The side effect is I will have to eat a diet like ours because I can't digest meat and fish and chicken and eggs and dairy. That is out of question now. But of course, you're not told that. You're not going to be told that at the hospital. You're going to be told now you can eat anything. And you cannot, because cardiovascular problem goes sky high now. So the side effect is, yeah, now you really have to eat a good diet and take care and exercise. So there's no in between. If I do a surgery because I have gallstones or I have an appendix that ruptured, I mean, I have to. But most of the time, I could have prevented that. I could have taken care by drinking enough, rest enough, and not overdo anything. For sure, sugar and stress is a big part of most problems that we have. And because we're all sugar addicts, this is something that everybody needs to realize. We're sugar addicts. And the more sugar you eat, the more you stress. And there's something called mitochondria, which is the energy in all your cells. Mitochondria hates sugar. So if I want to build up my mitochondria, I stay out of sugar, I stay out of fruit for a while too. And I rebuild my system. Glutathione rebuilds, all the raw living foods will rebuild my mitochondria. It's the energy source in your body. And your brain knows how much energy the cells have. That's why when I'm always tired, my brain is trying to figure out how much energy is still in what source do I have in my cells, and how much can I use? How much is available? Yeah, it's a funny thing. The brain and the body works together in everything.
So during your presentation, you talked about foods, specifically fruits and vegetables, losing their nutrients very quickly.
Yes.
And I understand going to farmers markets or having your own garden is phenomenal and a great way
Yeah.
to circumvent that issue. Most people don't, or can't do that regularly. What are good ways, such as, are frozen foods of like frozen berries, for example, are they a viable option to fresh grown as far as their nutrient content?
Yeah, there's some, but listen, that's why we teach about sprouting. I could sprout in a jar, for example, lentils. So I could take dry lentils, soak them in a bowl or soak them in the jar overnight, rinse it really well, tip it kind of 40-degree angles, put some screen on it with a rubber band and let them sprout. Rinse them morning and evening, let them sprout. Or what I often do, I just leave the jar without water after they're soaked and then leave them in the fridge for 4 or 5 days, and they're growing these beautiful sprouts. I can do that with sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds. I can do it with hemp seeds, chia seeds. And of course, sunflower and pea sprouts and buckwheat and wheatgrass, they need to grow taller and they grow best in soil, but they can grow hydroponic. I can buy an hydroponic machine and I can actually grow things. So even if I buy things in the supermarket, I have live things that I can add to that salad. That makes huge difference, huge.
And how do people feel satiated on a raw diet or diet high in sprouts?
Yeah, so the sprouts is a big thing. And again, so what our guests will tell you, I'm not hungry. I can't believe it. I can hardly eat dinner. They eat a big lunch. They have 2 of these, the 16 ounces juices. They have a 10 and 4. They have a 2-ounce shot of wheatgrass twice a day. And then they make tea. And then some of them we make our own nut milks of Brazil nuts and almonds. So some of them have that too. And they have a big lunch. And so when it comes to dinner, they're so satiated. They're like, they don't need anymore. They tell me that all the time. But sprouts is huge because that's 50% of our salad and that's 50% of our juice.
Now talk about going back to the nutrient loss. Not that I'm suggesting eating these foods, but to nutrients to the extent that they are in these foods, in processed foods and in supplements, get lost like they do in fruits and vegetables?
Yes. Oh, yeah. If I cut sprouts, if their sprouts are in the jar and they're still with roots and everything, of course, they keep growing. They're fine. But if I cut, so let's say now I cut wheatgrass off the tray, that's going to last max 2 weeks. And after that, it's no good. Is it as good as when I just cut it? No. Of course, when I just cut it, I have ultimate of phytonutrients, hormones, oxygen, and enzymes. That's how it works. So, I like to have, that's why when I have the sprouts in my jar and I can add it to my salad, I know I'm getting life.
So someone in the audience is asking, is there a way to heal Baker's cyst? I believe is what they're saying, due to
Yeah, so
inflammation in your knee?
if you look at Baker's cyst, most of the time you need to have exhumed. If it's really, really bad, so let's say I can walk with it because they're behind my knee. Then yes, I can do treatments for that. I can pack it in with wheatgrass, poultice, and I can do energy medicine on it. We have in our documentary, we have one lady that came with a Baker's cyst that ended up being cancerous, and she did have it exhumed, but no, they couldn't exhume it, so they did some chemo to help her, but then the chemo was so strong for her that she couldn't take it, and she told her husband, please get me out of here, I'm going to die with this. So she came to us and she healed totally, and they were going to amputate her leg because of her cyst, and that was cancerous. So yes, other people have. I would tell no sugar. I would say it's a very strict diet like ours, and lots of wheatgrass poultice that will be put on there. Maybe clay that will put on there too. So I would try anything before I would have it exhumed if necessary.
So you talked about all the environmental toxins like microplastics, and they're now saying that that they're finding that people have a plastic spoon's worth of microplastics in their brain.
Yes.
What do we do about that? Is there a way to get that out of our brain?
Yes, so you have the cleaning, you have the lymphatic system. Remember, you have the cleaning that happens every night. I need to drink enough during the day for that to happen. And I need to sleep. It's like the dishwasher starts as soon as I go to sleep. And, it knows what to clean up because those microplastic can go through the blood-brain barrier, like so many other things. Fertilizers, herbicides, pesticides, you name it.
So so we can get the plastics that are already in our brain tissue out of our brain.
There is research showing possibility now, of course, with, there's like glutathione is one thing, glutathione. There is alpha lipoic acid. There's also new research about certain bacteria that we need to clean it up. And so we need to rebuild our microbiome because it comes down to the microbiome at the end of the day.
So you referenced a study from 2004 on the long-term effects of antibiotics. How do we
Yes.
recover from antibiotics?
Yeah, so number one, I need to rebuild my flora because this has killed a lot of my flora. And as you saw, that Swedish 8-year study that was done, that even after 8 years, like 56, dependent on what kind of antibiotic, but let's say there was one kind, 56 species were still not in the flora. And every species, as we have hundreds and hundreds of kinds, but was very, very important to be missing. So prebiotic is what we're eating. That is our buffet. That's all the sprouts and the vegetables, the lettuce, spinach, arugula, all the fun stuff that we have, the cucumber, the beets, the avocado, the peppers, you name it. So that is prebiotic. That's rebuilding my flora. And then probiotic is very important to take. It's a part, we give every guest here something called Core Kit. It has enzymes, digestive enzymes. It has probiotic. It has the best B12 because it's soil-based B12, methylated B12, and it's vitamin D. And then we have algae, green algae, chlorella. That is great heavy metal cleanse. So that we could take more of too to get plastic out.
So of the people that were recovering from antibiotics in that study, where 8 years
Yes.
later they were still missing over 50
Yes.
varieties of
Yes.
bacteria, were they eating the standard American diet? Were any of them
Oh,
eating-
yeah.
Okay,
Standard
so
Swedish diet, just as bad.
okay, the standard Swedish diet. The
Yes.
acronym isn't as powerful, but the point's the same. So
Mhm.
so you talked about furniture and
Yes.
and off gassing, and you mentioned organic furniture. I looked on Amazon real quickly just to see, if I could look up organic furniture. I didn't see it
Yeah.
say like organic. How do we?
No, it will say green, eco, and organic, usually. Green, eco, organic. So you might have to look for eco first, and then usually you see organic.
And given the propensity for marketers to use the latest terms du jour, and misrepresent the safety of
Yeah.
their products, is there any way to tell whether or not this furniture is better than the furniture we already have that's off gassing?
It's a big question. It's a great question. I think we need to shop around and get to know these people. Here at the Institute, we bought a lot of the organic stuff for the rooms. Our bedding is 100%, you know, it's the latex, 100% organic, all our linen, everything is 100% organic. That is our promise. You're not going to sleep in chemicals here.
And are there any clothing brands that you recommend with regard to the right fabrics and the right fibers?
Well, first of all, there's tons now about organic. You have Pacts, like Whole Food carries Pacts, Pacts, and but there's a lot of companies all over the world that makes gym stuff 100% organic. They make clothes. You know, I wear only organic linen that I find in Sweden, but you can look up on the internet for sure. When our kids were younger, we told them all we're going to pay for is organic clothes, dresses, pants, you name it, underwear, and they would always find it. So, you know, I know the younger generation will be able to find it, but unfortunately, so many things comes out of polyester and nylon and, you know, acrylic, and it is sad because our kids are in these clothes and they're outgassed. They never stop outgassing. They never. You can wash them forever, then they will still be bad, and you still will never really breathe through them. So, you know, it's amazing how we went from totally natural stuff, because especially during the Second World War, we started to make nylon polyester, and it was used in what do you call those parachutes that so, and then after the war it was like, well, we have all these products and the machines to make it, why don't we start making clothes? And a lot of women were so happy they don't have to iron anymore. Hey, I iron every morning, big deal. It's a part of my routine. And Brian has suits, I got to iron, they're natural fiber. My suits are natural fiber. It is what it is.
So you mentioned bras and that
Yes.
they're made out of polyester and they have the underwire. What are
Yes.
alternatives to those types of bras that are healthier?
So there is organic cotton bras. You know, I was making that myself here through people that made it for me. But I made mastectomy bras, maternity bras for nursing, and daily bras. And it's just a big business because there is 12 sizes. And if you go big, you have to buy 500 of each. And I was not able to do that. But I made some amazing, I just gave one to one of our guests that has breast cancer, and she had a nylon bra. And I said, there, we get rid of that. And I gave her one of mine that we don't sell in the stores anymore. But I love to go back to that. I just can't make big amounts. There's no way I could store it anywhere, but it's such a need. And there are organic cotton. You have Pacts, you have Decent Exposure, you have different companies out there. You just have to be committed and look into it, you know.
And what makes up for the lack of the underwire?
So then the people that knows how to make, I worked with some amazing seamstress from New York, who is actually the troubleshooter for all the big companies. And her mom made bras, and she learned how to make bras from her mom. And they didn't have underwire in her mom's time. So they just fold the cotton, and they fold it in a special way to support, especially big-breasted women. So that was not a problem. That's not a problem. And, you know, I mean, of course, many cultures don't even have bras. And it's unfortunate that we are in a time where we want breasts to be uppity and this way and that way, and only a man would figure that out. I don't think a woman ever would want that. I mean, we'd rather just have a linen and be fine, right? So, you know, that's the time we're in. But if you want a bra, you get an organic cotton bra for sure.
And what about, so in these alternative fibers, and perhaps I'm just used to what they have nowadays, but what about coats and like the in colder climates?
Oh, yeah. So now we're talking things that I'm going to have here now. So if I went out in Sweden now, I would have a coat, and it'd probably be made from, it can be made from wool, it can be made from linen, but it has to have more padding inside. But there also, if I go skiing, of course, I go skiing, I use polyester suit. I have a polyester suit, but I have all natural fiber inside. So, I mean, we don't have to go super crazy about the whole thing either. If it's raining, you know, linen is not going to work. I need a raincoat. What's that made from, right? So there is place for everything, but the less I wear internally, especially close to my skin, the better.
Great. Well, thank you so much for all the information that you shared with us today. It was
Yeah, you're welcome. It's an honor to be here. Thank you for all you guys do.
well, thank you. If we can unmute the audience, please, so they can share their thanks.
Here's what you're
Thank you so much. Thank you
so much.
Thank
Other members
you.
this assessment to identify any